So behind me is the cash flow quadrant. It is book number 2 in the Rich Dad series. And the cash flow quadrant is a very important book. And again, you're going to find out things are opposite. See, on one side of the quadrant, you have E and you have S. This is my poor dad side. E stands for employee. S stands for self-employed, small business, specialty, a specialist, or a star, like a movie star or golf pro. So we have E's and S's on one side, and on my rich dad side, you have B's, which stands for big business. These are the guys like Henry Ford, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. And I stands for investor, but just not any investor. This stands for professional investor. See, most people who invest on the E and the S side, they invest in 401ks, they invest in IRAs and Roth IRAs. These guys are passive investors. When we talk about investor, we're talking about proactive, professional investors. So on this side is my poor dad side, E's and S's, and on this side are B's and I's, and this is my rich dad. So when I was a young man, I had to decide which side was best for me, E or S, B or I. So this is a very important subject now. It's called taxes. Now, most people hate paying taxes. So let me ask you this question. You have E's, S's, B's, and I's. Who pays the most taxes? Okay, so on the E's, and this is true throughout the world, it's about 40%. So if you're an employee, a major part of your paycheck goes to pay taxes, and that's how your wealth is being stolen. If you're an S, which is self-employed, movie star, or a specialist like an accountant, attorney, or a doctor, you pay 60% and higher. So the E's and S's pay the highest taxes possible, and these are the people who went to school and they're told to work hard for money. On the B and I side, which is the rich, the B's pay 20% in taxes. They pay much less, and the I's, the professional investor, pays as little as 0% in taxes. So some of you are saying this is not fair. And I can understand that because most people are on this side looking at this side. But let me just say this to you. Tax laws are fair. You see, tax laws don't care if you're rich or poor. You can be rich or poor and still pay 0 taxes. You can be rich or poor and pay 20% in taxes. See, what is not fair is the lack of financial education in our schools. So these people on this side have no idea how these guys are making much more money and paying a lot less in taxes. So let me just say this. For those of you who have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or if you haven't, look at Rich Dad, Poor Dad one more time. Lesson number 1 from my rich dad was this: the rich do not work for money. See, these guys here on the E and the S side, they work very hard for money, and they pay the highest taxes. What Rich Dad said on the B side, you should have people work for you, so you pay less taxes. And the I side, your money works hard for you. Other people's money works hard for you, so that's why you pay less in taxes. And that's what financial education should include. You must know the difference between why some people pay a lot of taxes and why others pay very little. So my question for you is this: which side of the quadrant is best for you for your second chance? Second Chance is an in-depth learning package, primarily for people who want to know more about the B side and the I side. And if you see this bug back here, this is called the Rich Dad Radio bug, because you are who you hang out with. If you're an idiot, you hang out with idiots. And if you're a crook, you hang out with crooks. And if you're a rich person, you hang out with rich people. So the Rich Dad Radio bug here means you can learn more if you want to learn more from people who are really doing the real thing. You see, the reason most people struggle financially is they take financial advice from salespeople. They're called, stockbrokers, real estate brokers, and insurance brokers or financial planners. As my rich dad said, the reason they're called brokers is because they're broker than you. They need your money. So when you see this bug here, it's called the Rich Dad Radio, And it's in Second Chance, and you can listen in. You can drop in on conversations between really successful so-called rich people who are doing the real thing on the B and the I side. For example, if you want to learn more about how the rich pay less in taxes, the Rich Dad Radio Bug has a conversation with my tax advisor, Tom Wheelwright. If you want to learn how debt makes the investor richer, listen in on that conversation. They're about 45 minutes long. They're just great information packets. You just drop in and listen to what rich people are really saying. And for those of you who have young people, we have my friends Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, sons of Donald Trump the Great, and they talk about how their dad did not spoil them, but trained them to be entrepreneurs, not employees. So this Rich Dad Radio Bug is part of your in-depth learning package included in the book Second Chance. Remember, you are who you hang out with. Birds of a feather do flock together.